Hi there, you are watching this video, which means you are interested to learn about AWS services. And in this tutorial, I am going to cover top most popular AWS services which we are normally use in our day-to-day life. And let's talk about first AWS. What is AWS? AWS is a cloud service provider, and they provide almost 200 plus services, and lot of startup company, a lot of popular tech giant using various type of services from AWS. And let give you a real life example so you can understand why we need AWS, or what benefit we will get after using AWS. Let's assume you have a server which can handle up to 10k requests per day, and after a few days your website become very popular and you are getting more requests, and you are upgrade your server and solve this problem, which is fine. But you notice that your server peak time is 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. That time you have lot of visitor and you need more resources, but rest of the time you don't have too much visitor, or you don't need that much resource for rest of the time, but you are still paying for that, which is very costly. And here AWS comes and solve our problem. We can integrate our project in AWS and tell, hey AWS, you can just use 4 GB of RAM and 4 core CPU only for 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. and rest of the time you will just use 1 core CPU and 1 GB of RAM. By doing this, we can minimize our cost. So now you can understand why we need AWS, and when it comes in terms about cost effectiveness, nothing is better than AWS. And also when we are going to manage a scalable application, or when we are going to build a larger application, then we definitely move on AWS. Okay. And in this tutorial I am going to cover these 9 topics, and definitely I will show real life implementation, so you after finish this tutorial you can also implement those services in your project. Okay, now let's give a little introduction about each of services. Let's talk about first Amazon S3. What is S3? S3 is a simple storage service. Let's assume you have a server where you are storing your all user files, picture, video, everything you are storing on your server. And whenever your user base grow, it will increase load on your server, and it also not a good practice using same server for store your all user file, because if someone upload some malicious file, then it's going to crash your server, or it might be affect your server. So if you integrate AWS S3 in your project, then whenever any user upload any file, picture or video, then it will upload on AWS S3 bucket, not on your server. So by doing this, you can decrease the load of your server and also increase the security of your server. Then we will cover AWS EC2 instance. What is AWS EC2? You can think it's a server. What type of server we need, we will choose depend on our project requirement. Let's assume I have a small project. So for my project, I need a server that will be enough for 1 GB of RAM or 1 core CPU. Okay, it will be enough for my project. But if I need more resources, like I need a server which must have 32 GB of RAM, 16 core, then I can also choose that. And there are a lot of instance type like T3, T4. We will also explain details on later, but for now you can just think AWS EC2 is a server, and we will choose our server depend on our requirement. Okay, then we will cover Amazon RDS. or relational database system, we will learn how we can use MySQL on with Amazon RDS. Okay. Then we will explore AWS Lambda. Lambda is a serverless compute system. Okay. Let give you an example so you can understand easily. Let assume you build a API application using Fast API framework or Node.js or Express.js, whatever. Okay, whatever framework you can use, you can think just you develop a API application, and so now you have two options. What you can do, you can host your API application on EC2 instance, or you can use AWS Lambda. But when you host your API application on EC2 instance, you need to create a server, you need to configure server, you need to do lot of stuff. But when you use AWS Lambda, you don't need to create any server, you don't need to manage any server. It's a serverless process, and it also hassle free. Okay, and it also cost effective. In EC2 you are paying for per hour, but when you are using AWS Lambda, you are just paying for per request. Like if you if your server or if your website hitting 10k request per day, then you will just pay for the 10k request. Okay, and then we will explore Amazon DynamoDB, which is for NoSQL database. We will learn how we can use NoSQL database. Okay, and then we will explore Amazon Sales, which is Amazon Simple Email Service. Okay, there are a lot of email service provider available in market, but I noticed nothing is cheaper than Amazon Sales, because you can send up to 50,000 mail daily without any cost, and I think 50,000 mail is more than enough for any startup company. So using Amazon Sales, you can send email to your user. Okay, or you can use it for email marketing. You can send up to 50,000 email per day, which is more than enough, I think. So we will also explore how we can implement Amazon Sales in our project. Okay, for sending mail to our website visitor. Okay, then we will for now just skip IAM. I will explain it later. Then we will explore Amazon VPS or virtual private cloud. Basically it's for increase our server security. Let assume I have a server and I want to allow only request from some specific IP range. If any request come from any unknown IP, then I want my server will not allow that request. Okay, so basically we will use Amazon VPS for increase our server security. And lastly we will discuss about Amazon CloudFront, and we will also show how we can use Amazon CloudFront in our project. Basically it's a content delivery network. Let assume you have a website which is hosted on USA, and someone from Australia sending request to your website. So the request coming arriving from Australia to USA. But when you using CDN in your project, if any, so what it will do basically, CloudFront make a clone copy of your website and distribute it among Amazon CloudFront server. So whenever anyone request from Australia, he will get response from the Australia server of AWS CloudFront. If anyone request from Germany, then he will get response from the Germany server of AWS CloudFront. Okay, so that's it. I think that is enough, and later I will explain and also I will demonstrate how we can implement each of services in our real life project. So after complete this tutorial, you have a good knowledge about those services, and you can also able to implement those services in your real life project. So now what you will do, you will just come here and create an account. It's very easy process. Here you need to give your email address, your account name, then a verification code will be sent to your email address, then it will ask phone number, you will give your phone number, and a verification code also go to your phone number. You will give the verification code, then it will ask to add card. It might be a charge $1 or $2. I think it will be less than $1. It will charge, and then your account will be easy to use. And after you create account, then we will explore each of services one by one, and also demonstrate how we can implement those services in our real life project. So now just come here and create an account. I will give the link in my video description.